Negative self-talk is possibly the single most destructive habit that you can cultivate in your life. If you were to hear from somebody else constantly just negativity about why they hate you, you would grow to hate that person. But sometimes we develop this tendency to speak to ourselves that way, and in turn reinforce self hatred. You see, I'd been talking to myself very negatively for almost all of my life, developing this coping mechanism, thinking if I beat them to the punch, if I speak negatively to myself first, then I will be prepared when the criticism comes from others. I think a lot of us speak to ourselves very negatively because it's a way for us to almost cope with the fact that rejection is a possibility in life. And to avoid the possible pain of rejection, we brace ourselves for the negative things that other people might say to us by saying them first to ourselves. Oh, I'm so dumb. I don't know what I'm doing. Man, just like they're all better than me. I failed. Like I don't have what it takes to do this. The problem is that kind of thought process is rooted in pride. Sure, you might suck at doing a certain task. You might be a complete rookie. You might have no idea what you're doing. But everybody else has been in that same position before. And to think that you're somehow different and that you shouldn't have to put in the hard work and the practice and the effort to become or to be able to perform the tasks that you want to be proficient at, that you just somehow just be good at that right away and that you won't be above criticism is just extremely arrogant. But also, it's really hurtful to ourselves because it reinforces this negative thought process on ourselves and reinforces that really poor image of ourselves in the mirror. Nobody is above criticism. Nobody is perfect. And we know this, but we still think it's attainable. This idea that we could be somebody who is above being rejected. This thought process is extremely destructive. It completely inhibits productivity. Beating yourself up over and over again just slows you down. It prevents you from being the person that you want to be. It keeps you from accomplishing your goals. You give yourself this sort of negative reinforcement that causes you to want to give up, causes you to almost want to fail because you believe that it's inevitable and you believe that failure is your default. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of your time, and it puts nothing but harm out there into the world. Because now, instead of seeing all of your successes as successes, you see all of your successes as mild avoidances of failure. And next time you want to speak to yourself negatively, next time you want to take that frustration, that anger of failure, and put it on yourself and berate yourself with all of these really harsh thoughts, reorient that energy, put it into productivity, put that energy into analyzing and understanding your mistakes so that next time you can do a little bit better. Because life doesn't happen by you just suddenly being perfect. Life happens by incremental growth. And if you give yourself the grace and you give yourself the kindness to say, hey, I've still got a lot to grow, I've still got a lot to learn, then you give yourself almost, instead of negative thought patterns, an empowering thought pattern that says, every day I accomplish a little bit more and I get closer to being who I want to be. You have already been through enough. You don't deserve to also receive the constant barrage of negative thoughts from the back of your own head. You already have enough going on in your life as it is. And yet, for some reason, we tell ourselves, hey, you made a mistake. You failed. Everybody's going to reject you. You don't have what it takes. But everybody goes through the same process to become good at what they want to do. Also, negative self-talk reinforces mistakes because now instead of focusing on the positives, we're focusing on the mistakes, which inevitably causes us to manifest more mistakes and more failure because the more you focus on how much of a failure or how low you are or focusing on how much you've let other people down, you've created for yourself a narrative in which you will never succeed. But we don't want to be that, so why would we continue to speak that over ourselves? I think the issue ultimately stems from the belief that in order to be loved, you have to be perfect, which maybe comes from trauma, maybe comes from abuse or past rejections, but the truth of the matter is, to be loved, you don't have to be perfect. So, if you made it to the end of this, my encouragement to you is please stop being so hard on yourself. Don't speak curses over your own life. You've already been through enough. You don't deserve to have a constant onslaught of negative thoughts in the back of your own head, tormenting you every single day. You don't deserve that. It's very important to recognize that being hard on yourself, negative self talk, looking at yourself in the mirror and saying you're a failure, does not get you to success. It rather reinforces the idea that you're never going to succeed. And we don't want that in our life. We want to succeed. And so start speaking to yourself positively, looking for the things that you've succeeded at. Every day, keep track of the things that you did well and start taking note of that and start finding joy in your small accomplishments, even little things, just like finishing the dishes or hey, I folded all of my laundry. Start small and encourage yourself because speaking negatively to yourself just creates a harder life.